The following information has been hidden from mankind for a very long time, and great lengths have been taken to keep this hidden from us. This is the story of a journey that something inside your body makes every month, and once this happens to you, awareness and comprehension are increased 1,000-fold. This story has been hidden from you by myth, allegory, metaphor, and deception. This is an esoteric truth and comes from very ancient wisdom. There is this thing in your brain called the colostrum. Modern science is still not too sure what the colostrum does. Sir Francis Crick once published an influential review proposing that the colostrum was the seed of consciousness. And so, when a child reaches the age of 12, this colostrum produces an oil, a very sacred oil. In ancient Greece, this oil was known as the chrism, the Christos, or ichthys, because they said it was oily and had a fishy smell. When the colostrum secretes this oil, the oil makes a journey down your central nervous system, down your spine, and ultimately to the bottom portion of the spine, the sacrum. Most humans are born with 33 vertebrae, and as they age, the vertebrae start to fuse in the lower portion, thus forming the sacrum and coccyx. The oil settles in the sacred place, the 5 fused vertebrae of the spine, the sacral plexus. It then begins its return journey, the ascension, if you will. The oil must return up to 33 vertebrae, and while it is making its journey, and before it reaches the 33rd vertebrae, it crosses the vagus nerve. This amazing nerve, known as the 10th cranial nerve, as there are 12, touches all the vital organs of the body, and damage to this nerve accounts for a lot of different diseases within the body. This nerve can only be healed through chanting, and this may be perhaps one of the reasons chanting is so prevalent in ancient religions. After it crosses the vagus nerve, it enters the hypothalamus, and here the sacred oil is mixed with serotonin from the pituitary gland and with DMT from the pineal gland. And here in the hypothalamus it sits for 2.5 days. Interestingly, serotonin was known as milk and DMT was known as honey, hence the land of milk and honey. Combined, they were known as the manna from heaven. After 2.5 days, this sacred oil is now transmuted into this new substance of the Christ within. It then continues its journey until it arrives at the very top, the crown, and touches the optic thalamus. The optic thalamus is esoterically known as the third eye. And it is here at the third eye where this sacred oil is exploded into 1,000 lights and pure consciousness, enlightenment, is reached. The ancient Egyptians called this the light of the world as they understood its power. It feels like one is glowing and radiant. Everything in the body that was asleep is now totally awake. It is an incredible experience that is truly indescribable. Some of our stories, celebrations, and history are allegories about this journey, this wonderful, indescribable journey that happens inside you each month when your moon sign crosses the sun sign of your birth. The ancients were able to live for thousands of years by preserving and conserving the sacred oil and transmuting it so that it reaches the optic thalamus, the third eye. This sacred oil has both physical and spiritual regenerative properties. This is the story of your fountain of youth and the true story of physical regeneration. What happens is when the oil reaches the optic thalamus, new blood is generated in the body, and so in order to regenerate and produce new blood, the oil must be raised to the optic thalamus where healing can occur. This sacred oil is extremely volatile, and the ancients taught that if one could live a life of peace and harmony and in balance with nature, they could save the oil for a whole month. There are practices that are very detrimental to the sacred oil. For example, overeating and creating an acidic body, alcohol and sex practiced at the wrong time all destroys the oil, which is known as eating from the tree of life. The ancients knew that once the oil was depleted because of poor eating choices, the fleshy organism dies. Death results from using up all the oil. This is the sacred science of Kundalini and the third eye. And so, if you're willing to embrace the discipline required to preserve the oil created within every single one of us, the chrism, which is born in the colostrum and makes a journey of the 33, then the universe will reward you with your spiritual gifts. And these gifts are innate within us all, but we have lost our ability to access them. If you want to experience this holy journey, wait for the moon to be in your star sign. Eat moderately, sit patiently in meditation, and don't expect the universe to gift it to you. And so you need to be willing to give up your television and climb out of your carnal mind. You will have to abstain from sex during this time and make sure your body is extremely alkaline, and eat moderately. Exercise at this point, as it helps your body to maintain an alkaline state. This is esoteric truth, and if you are Christian, Jewish, Muslim, or a member of any other religion, you were taught a different story. You were taught that Christ is outside of you. All religions teach that the Saviour is separate. Once you experience this illumination, you will know the truth of your body and what it really is. If more of us know this truth, we could overcome what's happening to our world and ourselves.